Hey guys, welcome back to Coffee and Crystals. I'm excited to have you here. We're going to talk about really setting yourself up for quarter 2 of 2023. We're going to talk about what I do after each quarter to really set myself up for success as we move into a new season. It's also really important that you gather as much information and work that you have done after a quarter ends so that you can, for one, learn from it. Also, you can, set yourself up for a presentation with your boss or collect data for resume building. You can even provide this information to update your LinkedIn to make sure that it's current, and everything that you have done in the last 3 months might have felt like 3 years if it's anything like me. And so it's important to put time on your calendar before you move into the next season of your life to really reflect. What I do after each quarter is I make sure that I reflect on case studies that I have done, stories about my job, what worked, what didn't work, what did I do about the obstacles that came up, and what might have helped what was kind of getting in your way. And you can have a takeaway of doing more of that into the next season, or what didn't work, where are you getting stuck. This is a place where you can really do some really great reflections and also give yourself a nice little pat on the back. It's nice to get pen to paper and write out your accomplishments and really think back about the last 3 months of your life so you can continue to be present and fulfilled in the work that you do. It's important to get as much data as possible when you are collecting information. So don't leave any number unturned. The more information that you can get it all in there. Like, this is your life. This is how you've spent, 40 plus hours of your week. So it's important to recap the work that you have done. And this is not just, so you can be full of ego and run around, I did this, I did that. This is, collective data that you can even turn into LinkedIn posts. I love to stay active on social media, especially on LinkedIn, so I can make sure that I am highly engaged in my career and in my market. Make sure that the information that you are sharing isn't part of that NDA'd or any classified information. That's super important. But you can absolutely share wins that your team has had. Or myself as a recruiter, I spend so much time speaking with others, telling stories, and this is a great time to reflect about some of the stories that stuck out and some of the people that I met, and this is really great content. Also, just you have to get in the habit of doing this right fresh when the quarter ends. Right before the closeout of the quarter, you're usually in your work and in your business preparing for the next season. So you have to carve out time to, get grounded, write as much as you can, and then also collect this information. If you already have to do this for work, like in a slideshow or a presentation, make sure that you're collecting this information for yourself in a Google Doc, something that is going to be easy for you to look back on, even if you're not with the same company anymore. It's really important for you guys to get into the habit of doing this, because this will also build confidence in your life. It will also take a little bit of the pressure off, believe it or not. When you start to write down everything that you've done, it's like, oh, geez, I kind of forgot about that. So, get out your calendar or review some of your notes and emails from the past quarter to kind of trigger what happened in your life so you're not missing anything and skipping the beat. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is the Yamas and the Niyamas. So these are 2 limbs in the 8 limbs of yoga. And the reason I wanted to bring those into the conversation is I was studying in my sutra book, which if you haven't heard the episode with my teacher and I, Ron Wells, talking about sutras and shit, definitely tune in so you can learn a little bit more about this spiritual readings of Panjali that I like to study. And I was reviewing in some of my contemplation in my morning study over the past quarter, and something came up for me this past Thursday about the 8 limbs of yoga. And Panjali created this as a format for you to follow so you can live a more purposeful life. And I was like, oh my gosh, this would be really great for me to tie into this episode so that it will give you a format as well, because for someone like me who is really trying to live a yoga inspired life, and there's a lot of different elements of what I do for business, and I always want to keep it back to the core of yoga, spirituality. The more that I can connect my business and my personal world all into one kind of umbrella, the easier it is to do life and to do more things and be a part of more projects if you can kind of bring it all together. And that means in reflection and writing out your goals as well. So I wanted to talk about the yamas and the niyamas today, and maybe talking about this with you guys is going to inspire you to, turning my page, I had some notes because this is some good stuff. I want to make sure that you guys are set up to know what I'm talking about with these words. So yama is the first limb of the 8 limbs of yoga that Patanjali wrote. And this really just means values, your morals, what vows are you having in your life. And I think when I was writing my business goals and recapping the quarter, I also brought in, I have my pendulum here somewhere. I thought I did. Where is it? Oh yes, I have a crystal pendulum. When I was thinking about when things kind of like went one far to the left or one far to one side, I was thinking about the yamas and what didn't sit well with me in my work that might have been swinging a little too far away from my values. What was something that worked, and was that kind of in tune with my values? So think about that, when you're writing down what worked. Did it work because this was something that you're rooted in and something that, you really believe in, with truthfulness or, nonviolence, whatever those top values are for you? Were those successes aligned to that? And on the flip side, when things got a little messy, were the values kind of like not aligned? So I think this was really helpful for me to focus on the yamas when I'm also focusing about like my daily duties. It can kind of ground you and bring you back to purpose when everything you do in life is aligned. So the second limb of yoga is niyama, and niyama is just like duties, observances, so cleanliness, contentment. This is studying of spiritual texts. So even to be inspired to have this episode with you guys today, I had to be focusing on my own self-study and self-reflection, surrendering to a higher power. When I look at the difficult weeks that I had, it really was in February. February, a lot of tough things happen, and it kind of like kicked off the last month of the quarter in a funny energy. But when I come back to the 8 limbs of yoga and the first 2 limbs, were my actions aligned to my values? It was a hard no for me. So I also struggled a little bit with my mental and emotional health. And there was a certain period of last quarter where I wasn't getting as many interviews on the calendar. I had a lot of candidates ghost me. I felt like my relationships were, not a vibe. They weren't like fulfilling me. And it's funny because it all was correlated. So this was a huge aha moment for me, especially going into spring and this new season and this new quarter of business, that if I can continually get myself aligned to purpose in everything I do, it will really help me make business decisions, and it helps me stay more productive. In the niyamas, it talks a lot about discipline. And the second I kind of clicked in my head that I wasn't being disciplined with my physical body, which is my workouts, I was being pretty great about like showing up to the gym every day, but it started to get to the point where I wasn't pushing myself. So I ended up getting a trainer. I ended up booking classes the night before, and I don't like get charged if I don't show up, but you do get penalties. I'm a member at Equinox. So if anybody wants to be a member at Equinox, by the way, like schedule a call with me. I could talk about them all day long. It's the best gym ever. But what I noticed is that I was definitely disciplined, and I had gotten myself with my like at the end of the last quarter, I really knew that I wanted to up level my fitness. So I got myself there and I kicked off this quarter like showing up. Like every month I had a new like beat to my check-in goal. But what was happening is I wasn't really like being super disciplined and I wasn't pushing myself in my workout. So I ended up getting a trainer, and that really truly jump started like March for me. Like it was a game changer for me. Also, something when I think about like my spiritual health, I started a daily meditation practice again in March. So, I was feeling a little low in February, and I also look at all the behaviors outside of work and, writing down all these obstacles, and it kind of ended up pointing fingers at this certain period of my life. But when I started focusing on what I was doing as far as Yamas and Niyamas, I wasn't aligned. So of course, other things in my life were showing up unaligned. I really hope this is helpful. I thought another thing that was really cool for me in this last quarter, and this is more on the personal side, is I had a Reiki treatment at the beginning of this year, or I guess it was February. I mean, the quarter was the beginning of this year, but I had a Reiki treatment, which was a follow-up treatment. I think like to really like get full Reiki treatment, you need about 12 of them. I'm on about 7. It's an energy healing, all of you who do not know what Reiki is. And something that came up I keep saying January, but it was in February. It was the very beginning of February. I went to Florida, Punta Gorda, and I had my natural healer do her treatment on me. And something came up that I was like a little stuck in my sacral chakra. We talked about this when we went over the chakras on the summer series. So if you're curious more about these different energies in your body, you can check out my chakra series. But I was told that I was a little stuck in my sacral chakra, which is the creative region of your body. It also was connected to mothers or the relationship, the tribe in my history not being aligned. And then I also ended up having to fly to New York basically overnight because my friend got really sick and it was very scary. So I got there, which also got me to that side of the country to be available and present for my mother's birthday. And I was surrounded by, the tribe, the women tribe in my family. And we had such a beautiful visit. It was probably one of the most beautiful visits that, my family have had in a really long time. It was just like really good family time. And then reflecting and writing out about my goals of last quarter and what happened in my business and personal life, I got to write down this trip. And then I'm also like connecting the dots. Like I was told that I needed to work on like my mother relationships and to feel more creative because I was stuck there. And then the universe kind of like pivoted me, got me over there. I don't know, it was just kind of like mind blown. So I think when you are showing up as a student, the teacher appears, but if I hadn't been curious about, feeling unaligned and, feeling off balance, I would have gone to Florida to get that Reiki treatment. Another thing that came up when I was recording my wins and my obstacles was just community. I started off this year knowing that I wanted to get to my friend's house in Florida and just support them, okay? They like supported me all my freaking life. I feel like I'm an adult and they're still supporting me. I lived with this family when my grandmother got a little too grumpy and old to take care of me. She also had to move because she was selling her house. She was getting sick. She was old. She was my great grandmother. So I moved in with my neighbors and they've just been like parent figures ever since. So something in my heart told me like, if I want to feel more connected to my community, I'm going to start with my own circle and I am going to go to Florida and I am going to clear my weekend and I am just going to be like a slave to them, whatever they need around their house. They just moved into 17 acres in Punta Gorda. We are creating, I say we, but yeah, I am a part of it. They are creating a wellness center and there was just a ton of work to do. Some, aftermath from the hurricane was still going on and I was like, I'm going to go be a servant. I am going to go serve my community. I got down there and it felt good. There was a whole Saturday and Sunday that I was like literally like washing windows. Like I don't know, it was almost like I had a monk moment. I was was, doing some dirty work, cleaning floors, cleaning bathrooms. There was a lot of gross, like just destruction that had happened to this acreage from the hurricane, and also just it's a new property that they have, so there was a lot of work to do. And it just reminded me of when I was little, like, we talked about this in many episodes. I was always grounded and always in trouble and always had FOMO and always had to find things to do, and I would, like, my grandmother would make me pick up dead fruit and pull weeds, and that's who made me who I am. And then in a funny way, like after like having like a weekend like that where you really like got your hands dirty and really put your heart and soul to help someone else, it really like full circle starts to open up other doors for you. And I say that because, in turn, she gave me the Reiki treatment. I learned about this. It kind of opened my awareness of some things I needed to look out for. And, things in my professional life started shifting as well. As I was open to serving community, people were reaching out to me and asking me to be a part of their community. I was asked to teach at a yoga event. I have a new client that reached out to me from social media. I feel like the more you give to others, the more, people are going to be seeking your support. So I hope that this is all kind of tying in for you like it did for me. But if I can end with just one thing for you guys, you are your biggest cheerleader. And for you to move forward in your business and in your personal life, you have to start making moves. And a big part about making moves and hitting and achieving goals is to live through the boredom, for one. Two is to have a plan, and then absolutely self-reflection and looking at, holding yourself accountable, holding your team accountable. If you're an individual contributor like me, most of the time in all my worlds of what I do in my business as an entrepreneur, then you have to look at, your quarter and each year and, be really real with yourself about what worked and what didn't work. And also, this is just such a great career builder, resume builder. Like, I swear to you, like if something happened to you tomorrow in your job, you're going to be in frantic mode. Okay. There's going to be so many other worries going through your head. Like, I need a job. How am I going to pay my rent? Like, you think you're going to be in the mindset to be like, I did this. Like, it felt good. Like, I did it after a meditation. I worked out. I had a healthy breakfast. I felt hydrated. I had my coffee. I put on a cute outfit. I got out my pen and paper, and I felt good writing about the quarter. And last quarter was not all easy. We're heading into a recession in the country. There was a ton of things just going on in the media. You hear about Trump doing this, there's a lot of different just obstacles going on in the different businesses that I have. It was not an easy quarter, but this exercise still helps you feel the purpose in your life with what is going on, and you can start to feel connections. One huge win that I just want to share before I say goodbye to you guys is I paid off 3 major credit cards this last quarter. This is a karmic action that is like a long time coming, and you guys, it's the biggest, like, I'm getting goosebumps. I have my Travis Matthew jacket on right now, but like literally goosebumps as I share with you. I mean, tears come to my eyes. Like, always being on my own and being very independent financially, and then just getting myself into trouble and wanting to keep up with the Joneses for so many years. I had so much financial debt that I have been trying to release from my name, and to be able to, have the last stab at some debt that was under me and just like pay it off. It was huge. It almost feels like I can like accomplish anything. I also got a Brazilian wax. I said whack. A Brazilian wax at Waxology WeHo. So if you go, you have to say that I referred you, because I'll get like a credit to my account. Here's a little ad for you. But that was also another thing in my beauty routine that was like added in. I have done them before, but this is something that also, when I stepped off that bed, I was like, okay, if I can get that wax, like I can literally accomplish anything. But that's all I have for today. I definitely wanted to get this episode out live so you can be listening to it before you start your Monday, because I do not want you guys jump starting into quarter 2 without properly reflecting and editing your resume on what you have accomplished in the first quarter of 2023. All right, guys, as always, stay hydrated, and thanks for watching and listening.